has found her name tied to Diddy in recent months after people noticed how comfortable she appeared with the rapper in party snapshots. Now she has been accused of aiding disgraced music artist Sean Diddy Combs and making his transgressions happen over the years. You might recall that Sean Diddy Combs is in some serious trouble right now after multiple people have stepped forward accusing him of engaging with them and others without consent, forcing people into unwanted scenarios, and making people consume things unknowingly, filming and then using that footage from inappropriate parties that he called freak-offs as blackmail to keep it all on the down low, and just generally being a really awful person. And definitely not the kind of guy you'd want your name attached to, especially not if you're someone as famous as Oprah, who has established themselves over the years as someone in firm support of the Me Too movement and being a beacon of hope. Unfortunately for Oprah, she was spotted at Diddy parties of the past, and it is coming back to haunt her. The thing is though, many big Hollywood names have appeared on a Diddy guest list, but not everyone has been a guest at a freak-off. Diddy in general was known as the party host in the 2000s. He hosted the white attire parties, massive birthday celebrations, after parties. They were known for being extravagant and expensive, and everyone wanted to attend. It was a status symbol to be around that much wealth. Allegedly, sometimes the after parties for Diddy events were freak-offs, but many news publications report that often by the time a party descended into a freak-off, many of the famous names had already left. But people aren't just accusing Oprah of attending freak-offs, but also aiding in putting them on. Some sites even saying that she provided the people. Some people even go so far as to claim that Diddy's home was connected to Oprah's via an underground tunnel system, and that's how they did it. And that's a serious thing to say, but Oprah's tunnel accusations don't even just have to do with Diddy, and they didn't start with him either. People have accused Oprah of being part of a larger, multiple parties involved kind of situation that is similar in theme to the Diddy stuff, that directly linked her to some nefarious alleged activity involving forcing younger individuals into bad situations. Surprisingly, one woman claims not only is Oprah involved, but that she was given the address to a tunnel's entrance. Adria English filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming she worked for Combs at the Hamptons and Miami parties he threw in the mid to late 2000s. She claimed that the drinks she was given on the job had things in them that she didn't ask for. In addition to allegedly being forced to consume things, English claimed she was also forced to engage in actions she didn't want to do. Adria English did have legal representation, but unexpectedly, her and her team parted ways. The cited reason was irreconcilable differences. The filing read that they disagreed regarding almost every aspect of the litigation. One of the lawyers claimed that her case was great. The issue at hand was that English allegedly undermined their work and went behind their backs, doing things incongruent to advancing her case. That they never lost faith in her case, just in her. And to which English allegedly responded with, "I'm the client, you work for me." But how does this tie back to Oprah? Well, another major point of conflict between English and her representation was that they requested that English refrain from speaking to the media. Pretty soon after parting ways, English spoke to independent media, and the interview made its way around TikTok gossip pages. English claimed that there were tunnels under Oprah's home. She also made the bold statement, she sees what's going on because she's a participant. As of right now, no credible news site has been able to find information confirming this, or a tunnel system under any of Oprah's properties. In fact, some websites have looked into the tunnel rumor and stated it false. I'm not saying that Adria English is lying, just that the information has not yet been officially confirmed. But Diddy isn't the first time Oprah has found her name tied to some questionable characters. She was famously close to the man, who also had a very public falling out with Hollywood after his past transgressions came to light. Name rhymes with Starvey, anyways you get it. Seal publicly called out Oprah on Instagram for her past relationship for this person. The man posted a couple of pictures featuring Oprah interacting with the man, the text reading, "When you have been part of the problem for decades, but suddenly they all think you are the solution." Seal added his own caption to this photo, calling out an individual for hearing the rumors but not doing anything about it, and implying that the person was pretending that they didn't know what was happening. Sure, Seal didn't name names, but he did post faces, particularly Oprah's. Everyone assumed he was taking a dig at the talk show host. Seal insisted this wasn't the case, it just happened to be Oprah that was the one pictured with the man. It was more about the man in the picture than the talk show host in the picture, and the text was to be taken as a generalization of the entertainment industry rather than a direct attack. However, people weren't quick to forget it. In fact, this spurred some folks to look closer into the relationship between the two major celebrity figures. One Quora user named Marina Kane made a startling connection between the two parties. Back in 2019, 2 documentaries with similar themes premiered at the Sundance Film Festival, but only one seemed to earn positive reviews and media coverage. One doc was about the previously mentioned producer, and the other doc was about Michael Jackson. A Hollywood entertainment lawyer made the bombshell claim that the producer and Oprah helped fund the Jackson documentary to draw focus from the one about him. In my own research about this, I was unable to find anything solid confirming this, just what Oprah said about why she provided financial support to the other one. She said she believed the survivors and that the issue was too important to stay silent. A few years ago, a major scandal revealed that Oprah was not as involved with her Leadership Academy as she made it seem. The Leadership Academy was originally designed and created to be a place to uplift girls in the community, but the good deed was quickly tarnished when the dorm matron was accused by multiple students of acting inappropriately towards them. The matron was arrested and faced 14 charges. In addition to those of inappropriate physical contact, the matron was also accused of getting into a physical confrontation with a dorm parent, and separately injuring 3 people while operating a golf cart. Adding more fuel to this fire, Oprah was later sued by the school's headmistress for over $250,000 on grounds of defamation. This was a direct result of the situation with the dorm matron. While that legal battle was happening, Winfrey had publicly commented that she was doing a total overhaul of the school, that she had lost confidence in the headmistress. The headmistress claimed that these statements made it harder for her to find work afterward. Court papers from the case read that Winfrey had originally intended to hire nurses to be the dorm matrons. However, the headmistress went a different route, and according to an article from CBS News, hired 8 young women from a local company called Party Design. Winfrey's lawyers at the time wrote about this, saying these young women were later found to be totally qualified to handle the position, something the headmistress had been warned about. The 2 women were expected to settle this in court, but instead came to an agreement privately shortly before the date. One feature on Oprah's show later came back to bite the host when it was revealed that the star of that segment was accused of over 600 instances of physically engaging with people without consent. The man was called John of God, and he ended up receiving hundreds of years in prison for those charges, among other things. Oprah happened to give this man a spotlight moment during her programming years prior. It framed him in a good light and made him appear as a miracle worker. Since the accusations, his interviews were deleted from her site and a note was put up in their place with the message that Oprah hoped justice would be served. Oprah spontaneously revealed a shocking secret back in 1995 during a segment on her show. While interviewing 4 mothers who were dealing with issues using substances, Oprah suddenly revealed that she related to these mothers more than anyone could have guessed. The TV star admitted that she also used the substance in question back in the day. The woman being interviewed at the time often referenced Oprah's honesty and strength, and it appeared that comments touched Oprah deeply, and she couldn't help but reveal to the mother that they were more similar than she thought. The host said, "This is probably one of the hardest things I have ever said. I relate to your story so much. I have done this. I know exactly what you are talking about." At the time of admission, it had been about 2 decades since Oprah used the substance, but it's clear that it was always weighing on her. She said, "That is my life's great big secret that has always been held over my head."
I only know Alec Baldwin when he played that crazy obsessive role on The Cat in the Hat, you know, the one where he in the end gets covered in the purple goo. I've had no idea though about his past scuffles with the law, photographers, and the recent incident on set, and the list goes on with him. Let's start with 1995 though, when he had a bit of a hands-on incident with a photographer right after his daughter, Ireland Baldwin, was born. Apparently, while they were coming out of the hospital though, a freelance photographer named Alan Zanger was spraying shaving cream all over his car. Alec obviously got pissed. You know, when you're bringing out a newborn and wife at the time out of the hospital after going through labor and more than likely sleepless nights, and you're seeing some butthead spray your car? They fought, and it got to a point where Zanger apparently got his nose broken when Baldwin allegedly punched him. But Alex says all he really did was break his camera. The weirdest part about this though was that when this was brought in for a civil case, Zanger managed to get $4,500 out of Baldwin for the damages that he started. Baldwin stated, "Anyone with a shred of human decency would understand that there are times in your life when you want your privacy respected, whether you are a public figure or not. I do believe that bringing your wife and a 3-day-old baby home from the hospital is one of those occasions. That Mr. Zanger felt it was appropriate to videotape my home and my family for his own profit is unacceptable to me. I asked him to repeatedly to stop filming us and he refused each request." Then there was the infamous case where, for some reason, a property was loaded and, during a scene, had gone off and injured someone that resulted in them passing. I understand him still being in the hot water for involuntary manslaughter, which also the charges had gotten dropped, but I'm also proud of him for suing the studios as a part of it for negligence. Someone on that crew did not do their job properly, and that's coming from someone in the industry who had to be asked multiple times before using those sort of items if I had eaten or if I was under the influence, etc. The industry during the pandemic was wild. I know nothing obviously of how things were going on a Hollywood set, but I could imagine all the shooting that had to be redone or reconstructed, or movies that had to drop overall due to how terrifying of a time that was. Tom Cruise was someone that was also not going to let the ruin the very minimal amount of freedom that they now had when it came to shooting with multiple cast and crew members within a location. He completely lost it, and rightfully so, because this was a crew of 50 people already, when he noticed a couple of crew members standing too close to each other in front of a computer screen during a shooting of Mission Impossible 7. If I see you do it again, you're gone, and if anyone on this crew does it, that's it. He was a producer as well on this show. Of course he's going to flip out if an outbreak happened on set, to where they would have already had to pause a production that's probably already been paused multiple times because of the pandemic. I understand the frustration. He doesn't stop there though. We are the gold standard. They're back in their Hollywood making movies right now because of us, because they believe in us and what we're doing. I'm on the phone with every studio at night, insurance companies, producers, and they're looking at us and using us to make their movies. We are creating thousands of jobs. I don't ever want to see you again. Ever. He said what he had to say to save y'all's butts from losing work during the hardest times of our lives. You can tell it to the people who are losing their homes because our industry is shut down. It's not going to put food on their table or pay for their college education. That's what I sleep with every night, and the future of this industry. So I'm sorry, I'm beyond your apologies. I have told you, and now I want it, and if you don't do it, you're out. We are not shutting this movie down. Is it understood? If I see you again, you are gone. I'm slowly learning more and more about Mel Gibson while working here, and I finally started to see what South Park was talking about when they were making him the way that he was on the show. This is wild from someone who produced a religious movie, because while he was pulled over for driving under the influence, he apparently made anti-Semitic remarks towards the police while they were handcuffing him, even going as far as to question if one of the police officers was Jewish. Gibson states in his defense, "Please know from my heart that I am not an anti-Semite. I am not a bigot. Hatred of any kind goes against my faith." You know, I don't mean to knock you off your rocker, but alcohol has the tendency to really remove a lot of the filters we hold in our day-to-day lives. Not claiming that you are anti-Semitic, but you know, alcohol. Flying around the world with Russell Crowe, another character I punctured a lung from laughing so hard on South Park for his stupid violent outburst. I finally understand why now after reading this article from Entertainment News. The first claim I'm reading about him was with Azealia Banks filed a report against Crowe for an assault. She apparently has deleted the Facebook post since then, but allegedly Crowe had called her the N-word, physically assaulting her, and then tossed her out of the room during a party, only to spit on her after doing so. But an eyewitness revealed to the source saying Banks had stated some pretty colorful choice of words before that went down. "You would love it if I broke my glass, poked you guys in the throat, and red would spill everywhere like some real Tarantino stuff." If someone was doing that at my hotel party, even if they were a celebrity, I'd kick them out as well. The eyewitness states that Crowe only bear hugged her to get her out of the room. 4 people came forward saying that Banks was acting, and I quote, erratic that night. Other instances, he has been reported for getting into fights with other people as well, hence the fighting round the world references in South Park. One instant though, back in 2005, Crowe was charged with felony assault and 4th-degree criminal possession of a weapon after he had thrown a telephone at a hotel staff member in NYC's Mercer Hotel, stating that the rage started when he realized the phone was broken. But his rep stated that the phone was tossed at a wall and not at a person. It was a very, very minor situation that was made into something outrageous. There's more violence perpetuated from me walking between the car to the courtroom with the waiting media than anything that I'd done. You know, you can apologize for something a million times and for whatever reason people will still want you to apologize for it again and again and again. Very differently. It's affected me psychologically. He states his emotional outbursts stem from being an extremely sensitive guy. I'm a bit intuitive, so I know from a handshake whether somebody means good or ill, and sometimes I don't want to. Once I know where they're coming from, I don't want to play that game anymore. You're so real for that, coming from someone who will go into a mental spiral just because they looked at me poorly. Or so I think. I remember when Britney Spears was on the news for shaving her head, but I never really took the time to delve into why it happened. South Park's episode kind of helped me get into some insight, but obviously it turning into some weird cult thing in the end, that was just classically outrageous South Park. The gesture was supposed to be a big F you to the public, she states. My long hair was a big part of what people liked about me. I knew that, she states. I knew a lot of guys thought long hair was hot. Shaving my head was a way of saying to the world, F you. You want me to be pretty for you? F you. You want me to be good for you? F you. You want me to be your dream girl? F you. I'd smile politely while doing TV show host, leered at my front, while American parents say I was destroying their children by wearing a crop top, while executives patted my hand condescendingly and second-guessed my career choices, even though I had sold millions of records, while my family acted like I was evil, and I was tired of it. The dark struggles of being in the spotlight. I truly empathize with her and these other celebrities with their meltdowns. Yes, they're public eye candy, but they do not owe us anything in return. Of course though, they are in the biggest eyes of the public, and it's a lot more than many people can chew. There has to be that balance somewhere of understanding where both parties are coming from. The poor woman states that she was in grief of not being able to see her sons during a divorce she was going through at the time, and really said it's time for a new makeover, to really give the paparazzi something to snap about. Suddenly, everyone became scared of her, even her own parents, because she was too ugly, proving a heck of a lot when it came to celebrities and people thinking they belonged to them. These are still people, and we tend to forget that. They are still humans who go through the same struggles we do, and the paparazzi tend to forget that. Such is life in the industry.
Kim Kardashian's former media strategist Shiraz Hassan alleged that her infamous 2012 flower incident was staged to help promote the perfume that she was launching. In the Channel 4 documentary The Kardashians' Billion-Dollar Dynasty, he claims that he told her, okay, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be fine, you're going to be safe, but we're going to create a media moment. If we create media gold, guess what's going to happen? Everyone's going to be talking about your perfume and everyone is going to buy it. If you're confused about this whole situation, let me clear it up for you. In 2012, Kim K was flower bombed at the red carpet launch of her True Reflection perfume. While posing for photos, a woman threw flour all over Kim's body. The assailant was later caught and arrested. However, Kim decided not to press charges. After the incident, Kim told E! Online, that probably is the craziest, unexpected, weird thing that has ever happened to me. Meanwhile, Kim's sisters also took to Twitter to defend her. Courtney wrote, I wonder if they would have dared thrown the flower at my hormonal and pregnant self. Chloe then tweeted, I wish I was with my sister tonight. I bet you that woman would not have dared tried a thing. Celebrities including presenter Juliana Rancic also tweeted in support of Kim, but turns out it was all fake. Next, let's discuss another secret that was revealed about Kim K's mom, Kris Jenner. Kris Jenner's former nanny, Pam Behan, believes the famous momager was, quote, grooming her children for their current celebrity status their entire lives. In her tell-all book, Malibu Nanny, The True Adventures of the Former Kardashian Nanny, Pam wrote, they only wore the cutest clothes from the nicest stores and were always perfectly well dressed, even at a young age. They were fashion plates and their image was being carefully crafted. I do believe that the success they enjoy now is what she always hoped for and wanted for them and for herself. On Twitter, Timothée Chalamet's agent, Brian Swardstrom, revealed Timmy's big secret. That he's never auditioned for anything in more than 7 years. The revelation sparked a huge debate about nepotism and privilege in the entertainment industry. Nepo baby is a term used online for somebody deemed to have achieved success only as a result of receiving help from famous or successful family members. The Beautiful Boy star's uncle is directed director and producer Rodman Flender, while his mom, Nicole Flender, has been credited as appearing in 2 movies, including 1 short film, and she was also a very successful Broadway performer. Users on Twitter came to Timothee's defense, one saying Timothée Chalamet hasn't had to audition for anything in over 7 years because he's simply that talented and that in demand. There's no larger conspiracy here, and I'm begging some of you to stop talking about this stuff with no knowledge of how the industry actually works. The privilege in question here is Timothée Chalamet's own talent, they added. On the BBC Introducing podcast, Ed Sheeran's manager, Stuart Camp, revealed his big secret, that every time they draw up a new management contract, Ed Sheeran adds a quote, stupid clause just to wind him up. In 2019, he required Stuart to carry around a picture of the Weasley twins from the Harry Potter movies. Stuart said, quote, I have a little laminated card of those lovely twins. I have to have that with me at all times. It's in my management contract. Stupid things like that. Here are some more secret facts about Ed Sheeran that you probably don't know. He apparently names his guitars. They are called Lloyd, Felix, Cyril, and Nigel. And Thinking Out Loud is his favorite song of his, and Prince Charles is the first celebrity he has ever met. Oprah revealed a huge secret about Mindy Kaling, that she was pregnant. Mindy Kaling's A Wrinkle in Time co-star Oprah confirmed that she is expecting her first child while talking to People magazine. My mouth dropped. Winfrey recalled about how she first heard the news while standing in a press line at Disney's D23 Expo. What did you just say? She said. Oh, Oprah, I don't think you know I'm 5 months pregnant. And I said, what? Mindy Kaling wasn't too bothered by how her baby secret was revealed though, thank goodness. She did announce it, Kaling said on the Ellen Show. I had told Oprah and Reese Witherspoon on a movie that we're working on, A Wrinkle in Time, and she announced it at a press event. She was very excited. If anybody's going to announce big news about your private life, Oprah Winfrey is the person. You can't complain that much about it. And you also can't be like, hey Oprah, zip it, because she's almost like a religious figure. So if there's one person I have to tell my daughter about that revealed her existence to the world, Oprah is pretty good. Another pregnancy secret revealed, Britney Spears exposed Zoe Saldana for being pregnant. Spears announced that her former Crossroads movie co-star was expecting 2 little ones during a 2014 Entertainment Tonight interview. Who knows? That's a very good idea, but she's pregnant with twins right now, she said, so I'm sure she's got a huge future ahead of her. She said when asked if she and Saldana would ever work together again. On an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, Zoe Saldana confirmed that Britney Spears had been the first one to spill the secret. The way that it happened was so innocent. I never even thought about holding her accountable to anything, she told host Andy Cohen. We were on the same flight from LA to New York, and we just talked for the duration of the flight. She has 2 boys, I was having twins, and we had a beautiful talk. And I forgot, it never even occurred to me not to say anything, because we weren't trying to hide it. We were just trying to be discreet. I was shocked because we weren't ready to sort of share it, but it was Britney Spears, so it was okay. Also on the subject of Britney Spears, a former housekeeper of the celebrity pop star revealed that she struggles with keeping an orderly household and that she is untidy to the extreme. Spears' former maid said she frequently left clothes all about her room and that she even found partially eaten fast food under the furniture. Jennifer Lopez has been exposed for being a pop diva, and these accusations are shocking. Jane Fonda called out her monster-in-law co-star J-Lo for injuring her on set. On the Drew Barrymore show, she said, the thing that comes to mind right away is that we have a slapping scene. I slap her, she slaps me. Jennifer, as per Jennifer, she had this enormous diamond ring. When she slapped me, it cut open my eyebrow. You know, she's never apologized for it, she concluded. But Jane Fonda is not the only one who has something to say about J-Lo. Last year, a viral TikTok trend where people told their J-Lo horror stories went absolutely viral across the internet, and some of these stories are insane. One user said, quote, I served at a restaurant where J-Lo and Ben Affleck were eating. At the end of the meal, Ben put a $100 bill down as a tip for the waitress. As Jennifer was just just about to leave, she grabbed the $100 bill and replaced it with $5. Yikes. Next up, we have Lea Michele. The Glee star has been in the news the last few years for her apparent horrible behavior on and off set. Replying to a tweet Lea Michele made about the Black Lives Matter movement, Glee co-star Samantha Marie Ware wrote, "Remember when you made my first television gig a living hell? Cause I'll never forget. I believe you told everyone that if you had the opportunity, you would poo in my wig." Amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question a career in Hollywood. Another co-star, Heather Morris, also had some things to say on Twitter. Was she unpleasant to work with? Very much so. For Lea to treat others with the disrespect that she did for as long as she did, I believe she should be called out. And finally, Davier Snell, who appeared on Glee in 2014, also recounted rude behavior from Lea. He tweeted, "Girl, you wouldn't let me sit at the table with the other cast members cause I didn't belong there. F you, Lea," in all caps. Lastly, we have Jennifer Aniston. Known as the good girl in Hollywood, Jennifer Aniston seems like she wouldn't hurt a fly. Well, that all changed when Jay Moore, her co-star in 1997's movie Picture Perfect, said that his most awkward interaction with a female co-star ever was, quote, being on the set of a movie where the leading woman was unhappy with his presence and made it clear from day one. Although he never named her name, this was the only movie that fit the description. Maybe he's too scared Aniston's legal team will get involved if he speaks up. He also said, quote, "I hadn't done any movies, and even though they screen tested some pretty famous guys, I somehow snaked into the leading role. The actress said, 'No way, you've gotta be kidding me,' loudly, between takes, to other actors on set. I would literally go to my mom's house and cry."
Number 10. The Maui Fund scandal. Now, who would have guessed that the woman famous for handing out cars on her talk show is being cancelled by the entire world? Why? Well, Oprah made a career-ending mistake when herself and Dwayne Johnson broke the one rule of being a billionaire. Don't ask poor people for their money. Last week, Oprah and The Rock announced that they would be starting a relief fund for the victims of the Maui wildfires. The People's Fund of Maui was given a solid $10 million to get off of the ground. $10 million donated by Oprah and Dwayne combined. So why is it just Oprah that's getting so much hate online? Well, it's because she has a net worth of roughly $2.8 billion. Billion with a B. The world is collectively furious at Oprah for having the audacity to ask working class citizens for charity when most people can barely afford to put food on their tables. The Rock and Oprah donated $5 million each to give the fund a head start. Well, guess what? $5 million to Oprah Winfrey is like $500 to us. Like, it's still a lot, but it's chump change to her. Oprah addressed all the hate online, telling the Daily Mail that she was disappointed in the reactions from the world rather than focusing on the good things and the people of Maui. The world was mad that she asked them to give her a nickel. Well, Oprah has yet to confirm if she'll be donating any more to the fund, but so far it's not looking like she will. Number 9. Her controversial beliefs. Oprah has had plenty of controversial people on her show, from so-called medical experts to psychologists to celebrities. Whatever is good for TV, it's good for Oprah. One particular incident that caused a ton of backlash for Oprah was when she did an interview with Suzanne Summers. She was brought onto the show to share her beauty secrets on how she was able to look so young. According to Summer, this treatment that she does on a regular basis will help. Suzanne claims that she rubs estrogen cream into her skin on one arm and smears progesterone in her other arm. Progesterone is just a fancy way of saying steroids. She also claimed that she took 60 supplements and vitamins a day, 40 in the morning and 20 before bed. What really stirred the pot was this woman claiming to be a health expert and a so-called self-help author. But surprise, surprise, a doctor she is not. Medical experts started bashing Oprah, claiming that this type of extreme hormone therapy would actually be the cause of several diseases and illnesses. You know, like cancer. Despite Suzanne's claim that her specially made, non-FDA approved bioidenticals are natural and safe, they're actually just synthetic conventional hormones that you can buy from a pharmacy. Oprah did everything in her power to sell this idea to her audience, believing 100% that these methods were useful, and even claimed that she used the methods herself to make herself feel incredible. So this lady would rather risk her audience getting cancer than just telling them the truth. Solid. Number 8. the free cars. Who could forget Oprah's famous words? You get a car, everyone gets a car! The moment was historical on her series and was parodied time and time again, and it still does to this day. However, what many people don't know is that it was not as simple as, here are the keys, have fun. When someone gives out anything on television, there is always a catch. For Oprah's audience, the catch was that if they wanted to drive away in their brand new car, they would have to pay $7,000 in taxes first. While Oprah's studio would cover, the sales tax and the registration for the vehicles, the audience members were given a choice to either pay the $7,000 and take the car, or just kind of take the cash instead. The infamous moment on the show featured 11 real teachers who were, according to Oprah, in desperate need of a new car. They, along with the audience members, received keys in a box on camera that Oprah claimed to be for their new cars. Everything has a catch, even now though. For someone who is known for being super charitable and generous, the word free clearly means something else to Oprah. Number 7, she will never marry Stedman. Oprah and her partner Stedman have been together for a long time, but have never actually gotten married. While Stedman has never explained why this is, Oprah shared her side of the story. According to Oprah, getting married would mean that she would not be able to have her own life, claiming that everything she had built on her own would be at risk, like he was some kind of a career parasite or something. The strangest part about her logic behind this is the fact that she said on air that she wanted Stedman to propose to her as soon as possible, so not sure what that is. Their relationship has survived a lot despite the years of rumors and speculations. However, a source close to Oprah said that in her 4 years working with the show, she could tell that there was absolutely nothing there with Stedman. Oprah just wanted to portray herself as a woman who loves her man, when in reality Stedman probably has a house separate from Oprah's, but it's like 1/5 the size. Number 6, the NDAs. Confidentiality agreements are not uncommon in the world of Hollywood. Marvel will literally have someone take you out if even a single line leaks to the public. In Kitty Kelly's tell-all book about Oprah, the author mentions the confidentiality agreements that co-workers and guest stars were always made to sign. This included everyone from Tom Cruise to the person who made Tom Cruise's muffin. Over 500 staff members were forced to sign the document. One former employee, Elizabeth Cody, tried to write a book about her time working for Oprah, but she was apparently stopped by the courts, still being tied to the agreement that she had signed. The NDAs were not meant to be a way to keep just show secrets safe, but any and all of Oprah's secrets as well. According to Elizabeth, the document was signed by almost everyone in Oprah's life. She may have this brand of sweetness and kindness, but apparently that's not how she actually is. Elizabeth felt that she was in Oprah's pocket after she signed the paperwork. In 2010, a lawsuit was even filed against Oprah and her company because Unicus Performance Training claimed that they were fired for violating the terms of this agreement, specifically involving advertising with her name, or the website of the show. That makes no sense. Number 5, diva. On air, Oprah is portrayed as a wholesome, sweet lady, but according to her stepmother, there is an unknown side to this woman, hidden from fans for years. According to Barbara, Oprah is one of the most controlling people that you will ever meet in your life. She claims that Oprah would not allow them to stay at her house when herself and her husband would try to visit, forcing them to stay in hotels with money out of their own pockets. Barbara also said that Oprah was quick to anger when it came to her staff, with several people being fired left and right over the years for the littlest things. But that's not all. Despite being a billionaire, Barbara allows her to stay at her house when she visits, something that Oprah apparently hates. The first time she actually stayed at her stepmother's place, Oprah allegedly complained that her bed sheets were not 1,000 threads and that her bath towels were not big enough. Okay, that one I can forgive. Ever use a giant towel? I'm never going back. This woman has billions of dollars to do literally anything she wants, and apparently what she wants is to make her family feel like a burden. Number 4, the vegan cleanse. Now when I learned about this next entry, I was genuinely shocked that Oprah Winfrey's show was never considered a toxic working environment. It turns out Oprah was a powerful woman when she was running the show. Oprah was an advocate for a ton of things on her show, but the one thing that she really doubled down on were her views on animal rights. Organizations like PETA praised Oprah for her advocacy, especially when she took it a step further by making her staff join her on a 21-day vegan cleanse. Now, while the cleanse was optional, if you signed up, there was no backing out. You were going to be vegan for 21 days or you were fired. Now, it was never actually confirmed if there was a penalty for leaving early, but according to one employee who participated in the cleanse, they were afraid to back out because Oprah was just so demanding. Oprah was a very serious woman behind the scenes, so we can only speculate what might have happened had she spotted a PA eating a Baconator. Number 3, spiritual beliefs. Now I'm going to start this entry by clarifying I'm not making fun of your beliefs, okay? If you are spiritual, if you're a spiritual person in any way, shape, or form, please know this entry is about Oprah and Oprah alone, okay? In an interview with Harper Bazaar, Oprah mentioned her daily morning routine that starts at 8:30 in the morning with various spiritual exercises. After reading Gathered Truth, she opens up an app called Bowl of Sake that delivers teachings of the Sufi, followed by some light meditation. The controversy here comes from Oprah inviting several self-fulfillment gurus onto her show and just gushing about one specific one named Guru Gary Sukov's preachings. Now, Oprah herself has claimed to have secret spiritual knowledge about tapping into personal courage and giving general spiritual advice, but she stopped diving too deep into spirituality after this backlash from her fans and readers of her magazine. They just didn't like that about Oprah. Number 2, Wild Child. Several books have been published about Oprah over the years, some from her and some not. In her own book that she wrote, she revealed that growing up she was far from an easy kid to handle. When she was young, she was sent to live with her father Vernon after Oprah was caught stealing from her mother's purse. Despite being an on-screen persona known for charity and kindness, she was actually a menace throughout most of her life, according to family members. As I mentioned previously on this list, Oprah's stepmother is not allowed to stay at her house, and she's known to be pretty controlling. She admitted to doing some pretty troubling things at a young age, including staging an amnesia bout, breaking several things in her mother's home, and calling the police. According to Oprah's mother, she was uncontrollable, ungrateful, and after robbing her, maybe a little crazy. And at number 1, her buddy, Dr. Phil. Oprah is not just responsible for many hopes and dreams being squashed live on air, but she is also the creator of many talk show celebrities, namely health expert Dr. Oz and life coach Dr. Phil. Now, before Dr. Phil had his own show, Oprah had asked him and his courtroom consulting firm to help her with a trial. Before meeting Oprah, Phil had zero interest in being a television personality, but Oprah made him see the light, so to speak. According to Phil, she helped him understand the power of these shows and what they were truly made for. For Phil, he brings people on his show who are struggling with personal issues that just so happen to be good for television. Remember that Catch Me Outside girl? Dr. Phil made her rich and famous. But it's not just Phil that's had some controversial moments though. Her other protege, Mr. Dr. Oz, has had some pretty rough moments. His show is centered around medicine and health, bringing so-called experts on every week. My mother loved this show. Oprah was partnered with both of these people, meaning that whatever their shows made, she got a little something for her trouble. She doesn't like to advertise how much she made from these programs, but considering how many episodes they have done and how long the programs have been on for, it's probably a lot.
In 2013, Corey Feldman went on The View to talk about how the Predator numbers are larger than anybody knows and include a ring reaching up into the Hollywood elite that's been shielded for years by the establishment. Barbara Walters looked at him with disbelief, hands clasped across her stomach, and snarled, "You're damaging an entire industry," as if to say that Hollywood itself was more valuable than wrecking lives. In a lengthy statement posted to Twitter, Charisma Carpenter detailed how Joss Whedon allegedly mistreated her during her time on both of his hit shows that she worked on, Buffy and Angel. Carpenter wrote that after nearly 2 decades of staying quiet and making excuses for traumatizing events, she finally had the courage to call out Joss Whedon for using his power in a bad way on numerous occasions. Following Charisma's allegations, which included claims that Whedon continuously made passive-aggressive threats to fire her, called her fat when she was 4 months pregnant, pitted cast members against one another, and unceremoniously fired her after accusing her of sabotaging the show, several of her Buffy and Angel castmates shared their thoughts on the situation and messages of support. Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Buffy on Buffy, said that while I am proud to have my name associated with Buffy Summers, I don't want to be forever associated with the name Joss Whedon. I stand with all survivors and am proud of them for speaking out. James Marsters, who played Spike, mentioned that while he will always be honored to have played the character, the Buffy set was not without challenges. He does not support harm of any kind, and he was heartbroken to learn of the experiences of some of the cast. He sent his love and support to everybody. So there was a lot of suspicions about the casting couch as a term used to characterize stars who are handed roles in exchange for favors long before the Harvey story broke. Megan Fox was one who spoke out. She spoke with GQ and laid out the cold hard facts, putting the rumors to rest. The actress stated that she would be honored to meet Hollywood legends and that she would be overjoyed by prospects, and then when she arrived, she would find out that meetings would be just a ruse. Many males in the profession were able to get away with sleeping with a lot of women, but she wasn't one of them. She was like, absolutely not, and that didn't help her career. Film critics and historians mentioned like, hey, does this ring a bell? Because over the years in Hollywood, the risks for a lot of folks were kind of high if you didn't follow the leader, fall in line. Vanessa Marquez had a recurring role on the hospital drama ER during the 90s, playing nurse Wendy Goldman, and alleged that George Clooney helped blacklist her after she spoke up about the harassment that was occurring on the set of the hit show. Now, Clooney has since denied the allegations, saying he had nothing to do with casting, he was an actor and only an actor. If she was told he was involved in any decision about her career, then she was lied to. The fact that he couldn't affect her career is only surpassed by the fact that he wouldn't have. Now, following her stint on ER, Vanessa hasn't really had a lot of work, sadly. Tara Subkoff was an up-and-coming actress in the 90s. She had roles in movies like As Good as It Gets, All Over Me, The Last Days of Disco. She was up for a part in one of Harvey's movies when he offered her the role at a premiere after a party, and then he hit on her. Well, according to her, after she rejected his advances, she found herself on the Hollywood block list. She was the subject of false gossip, labeled difficult to work with, and by that I mean like too difficult to work with. She said it became impossible for her to get work as an actress after that, so then she had to start a new career path, and yeah. Poor thing. Harvey, once again, had Mira Sorvino's career derailed after she rejected his advances. She mentioned to Ronan Farrow that she had rejected him on several occasions and had even reported his harassment to a female employee at Miramax, and had then noticed that her career was starting to suffer. She mentioned like there may have been other factors, but she definitely felt iced out and that her rejection of Harvey had something to do with it. In December of 2017, director Peter Jackson came forward and admitted that Harvey had badmouthed Sorvino to him, telling him that she was a nightmare to work with and he should avoid her at all costs. Seeing a pattern here today. Tippi Hedren was Alfred Hitchcock's most iconic leading lady. Under his direction, she went from being a model to a respected actress. Unfortunately, he wanted a little more than to just direct her on screen. He was reportedly quite obsessed with her and made a number of unwanted advances, which she rejected. She said, "He stared at me and simply said, as if it was the most natural thing in the world, that from this time on, he expected me to make myself available in that nature and accessible to him, however and whenever and wherever he wanted." Now, when Tippi tried to get out of her contract with Hitchcock, he threatened to ruin her career, and then he followed through with his threat. Because he had her under contract, he was able to keep her on the payroll without actually employing her. He made sure to turn down any film offers that came in from other studios. Now, looking back at it, she actually has a pretty good attitude with the situation. She mentioned that he ruined her career, but he didn't ruin her life. That time of her life was over. She still admires him for his work, but not as a person. After Clint Eastwood dumped Sandra Locke back in 1989, she found herself blacklisted by all of Hollywood's major studios, and this lasted for like a decade. Before the breakup, she had quite the career. She had an Oscar nomination under her belt, she had starred in 6 films of his, she was a budding director, but her breakup with the legendary director was very messy. She arrived home one day to find that he had changed the locks on their shared home and had put her stuff in storage. In response, she filed a palimony suit against him. In 1990, they were able to reach an agreement. Eastwood actually set up a development/directing pact for her at Warner Brothers in exchange for her dropping the suit. But 5 years later, they're back in court. She alleged that he had compensated Warner Brothers to keep her out of work because they had rejected all of the 30 projects that she had proposed and didn't give her any of their in-house projects. When he realized the jury was going to side with Locke, he settled with her for an undisclosed amount. But her career was not magically resurrected. However, it did send out a message in Hollywood that powerful people can and will take advantage of their power, but in this case, we win. Being wrongfully touched is a problem for a lot of folks in Hollywood, be it man, woman, no matter what your gender is. A sad example of this is Brendan Fraser, who claimed in 2018 that at a public event, he went to shake the hand of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association president, or HFPA, Philip Burke, but instead Burke grabbed Fraser's behind. Now, Burke has described this account as a total fabrication, but then, in his 2014 memoir, he admitted to having groped him in jest. Sadly, when you combine this harm, Brendan's divorce at the time, and the death of his mother, it kind of launched him sadly into a depression that, combined with his health problems, led to a break in his career. He had completely turned away from the spotlight, but then he bravely and publicly shamed Burke for the indecency. Sadly, for quite a while after that, Brendan's work phone stopped ringing. But now he's back, and we'd love to see it. So in March of 2012, Kim Kardashian was doused in flour while walking the red carpet at the launch of her perfume, True Reflection, in West Hollywood. Now, prior to the attack, Kim looked really cute. She was wearing these tight black pants, a matching blazer, a bright blue blouse. It was fun. It was that business casual-esque sort of look, but the flour ended up covering her entire upper half and her hair, and like, ugh, getting that out of your hair, it's like paste. So at the time, TMZ reported that Kim and her momager, Kris Jenner, were quickly ushered into a private room following the incident, and then Kim came back out later laughing off the ordeal, being like, oh my gosh, that is probably the craziest, unexpected, weird thing that ever happened to me. Like, I said to my makeup artist that I wanted more powder, and that's a whole lot of translucent powder right there. Meanwhile, the assailant reportedly ran off after throwing the flower, but was intercepted by somebody who worked for Kim and held until the police arrived. She was arrested, but Kim opted not to press charges, with the woman being released shortly afterwards. Now, at the time, everybody thought that the attack was animal rights oriented. Apparently, the woman shouted "fur hog" when she threw the flower. And previously, PETA had called out Kim for her love of fur, but the organization denied that they were involved. And trust me, they love to take credit when they do something like that. So here's the thing, folks. Kim Kardashian's former media strategist, Shiraz Hassan, alleged that the infamous incident was actually staged to help promote this whole perfume launch. In the documentary, The Kardashians' Billion-Dollar Dynasty, he claimed he told her, okay, this is what's gonna happen, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna be safe, but we're going to create a media moment. If we create media gold, guess what's gonna happen? Everybody's going to be talking about your perfume, everybody's going to buy it. Well, that's a weird way of doing it, but I guess no publicity is bad publicity? That's the phrase, right? So long before the most recent Hollywood scandals we can't talk about emerged, there were rumors about the casting couch, a term used to describe stars who are given roles in exchange for favors of a carnal nature. Megan Fox gave an interview to GQ and put the rumors to rest by laying out the cold, hard facts. The actress said that Hollywood legends would invite her to meet, and she would be so excited for the opportunity. Then when she would show up, she would realize that the meeting was just a ruse. She said a lot of the men were able to get away with sleeping with a lot of women in the industry, but she wasn't one of them. She would shut them down immediately, and that kind of explains why her acting career kind of fell to the wayside for a bit. The history of the casting couch is lengthy, with many guilty of its use. An early practitioner was Louis B. Mayer, who co-founded Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios back in 1924. MGM? Mayer, the ground zero of this kind of harm, had the means, motive, opportunity in that critical piece of the puzzle. The power. If women didn't comply, he'd threaten to ruin their careers or those of their loved ones. Yeah, sound familiar? So according to film critic and historian Carrie Rickey, the perils for women in Hollywood are embedded, like landmines, from an actress's debut to her swan song. This is a place where big moguls wouldn't cast starlets unless they auditioned in bed, which so freaking gross. So everybody calls Elvis Presley the king of rock and roll, but I think that title really belongs to Chuck Berry. The man was a rock pioneer, and with a little help from Marty McFly, he produced some all-time classics like Johnny B. Good, Roll Over Beethoven. Rolling Stone even went so far as to deem him the 5th greatest artist of all time. But and it's a big one. While he's one of America's greatest musicians, there are some who'd say he's also one of America's biggest creeps. I know, it broke my heart, but over the years he has had multiple run-ins with the law. In the 70s he was arrested for income tax evasion. In 1987 he was arrested for harming a woman. In 1990 police raided his home and made off with a lot of substances and weapons. But things get worse if we go way back in time. Well, not way back, but like 1961. He was arrested for transporting a female across state lines for naughty purposes. And sadly, that wasn't the only time he was accused of freaky behavior. In 1990, he was sued by multiple women, all of whom claimed he had videotaped them while using the bathroom. Now, this restroom in question was located in a St. Louis restaurant owned by the rock star, but instead of going to court, he settled. Supposedly, the whole ordeal cost him $1.2 million plus legal fees, and it really goes to show that when you're talking about beloved celebrities, you can never tell. So sometimes all it takes is an illicit substance for an actor or actress to put on their best performance. Tinseltown has been known to allegedly supply many A-list stars with a never-ending flow of their favorite vice. Actor Dennis Quaid revealed he had a casual addiction to No-No Snow before becoming a huge star. When he first moved to LA in 1974, he dabbled with it here and there, but things didn't get out of control until he was booked to appear in mainstream films. He did reveal that No-No Snow was listed in movies' budgets, but it was disguised as petty cash to keep the substance stuff on sets a secret, or an open secret. He claimed this was freely given out on movie sets because it was the norm. It was something everybody was doing. Now, looking back on it, he called his addiction one of the biggest mistakes he ever made. He said being addicted to it caused his entire life to fall apart. Even Jack Nicholson has spoken candidly about his use of substances. In a 1980 interview, he said, it ain't no big thing, and he still loved to, have fun about 4 days a week, which that sounds a little dangerous, a little too much, but what do I know? The Brady Bunch was one of TV's most wholesome shows. When it first hit the air in 1969, it was one of the first TV shows to portray a blended family. Whether you watched the show when it first aired or caught it in reruns, it has been a staple for generations, thanks to its family-friendly storytelling. And sorry to be the one to break it to you, but this show had a dark side too. And the youngest Brady, Cindy, otherwise known as Susan Olsen, spilled some serious scoop. So rumors of behind-the-scenes hookups have always run rampant, and this happens on any show. But Olsen confirmed the actors were all hooking up with each other in one way or another. She said, "We led a sheltered life for part of the year, so if there was anybody to get a crush on or to try to date, it would be our counterparts." Now look, they weren't real life brothers and sisters, so I guess it's not so bad. According to Olsen, she and Mike Lookinland started having makeout session in Tiger's doghouse when they were on the show. And yes, the thing that you're feeling right now are the last shreds of your innocence leaving your soul. I know. I'm sorry to break your heart. So Mean Girls was a hit when it released in 2004, and it's gone on to become a cultural phenomenon. This film, starring Lindsay Lohan and Rachel McAdams, gave us The Plastics, it gave us Fetch, Burn Books, Pink Wednesdays. It's inspired a whole culture. It's infiltrated our language. When you compare somebody to Regina George, you know what it means. There's references scattered throughout pop culture to this day. However, despite everything that's been written about the film, there's a dark side of it that's rarely ever been addressed. So Daniel, who played level pal Damien, was a real-life victim of bullying, on this set and on other sets. It took many years for him to open up about the experience, only going public in 2007 when he accused actress Bijou Phillips of bullying him. Now, the pair worked together on his first film, ironically named Bully in 2001, and he accused her of body-shaming him and making him feel uncomfortable by asking about his sexuality. Now, Phillips later issued a public apology, but denied being homophobic. So powerful figures in Hollywood have continued to enjoy strong careers even after horrible allegations of on-set harm. Let's spin the wheel, Quentin Tarantino. In an interview with the New York Times about a disgraced Hollywood producer, Uma Thurman talked about her experience with Tarantino on Pulp Fiction and many other movies, and she said that he both put his hands around her neck and spit on her for different moments in the films. And he confirmed these allegations, but he defended his reasoning. Uma Thurman also said that Tarantino pushed her into doing a dangerous stunt that ended in a serious car accident. Now she's forgiven him, because apparently he sent her the footage and called it the biggest regret of his life, but she continues to blame, rightfully so, all the producers for the traumatic event and their alleged efforts to cover it up. Now, in response to these allegations, in a statement to The Hollywood Reporter, one producer said, "I deeply regret that Uma suffered the pain she has, both physically and emotionally, for all of these years from the accident that occurred on the set. The safety of the producers who work on the movies I produce is vital to me. I will never let anyone down." And he tried to deny that there was any cover-up, but like, sir? Ben didn't want his love letters to Jennifer being made public in her new film, but insiders have claimed it wasn't because he had kept them a secret from his ex-wife. Because Jennifer Garner's fans were kind of outraged after Ben Affleck revealed that he clung on to his correspondence with J.Lo during his 13-year marriage, and then had those letters and emails bound into a book to gift to Jenny from the Block when they reunited in 2021. But insiders have quashed any notion that the admission shocked Garner. Apparently she was happy for Ben Affleck and J.Lo. She's friends with them, and she's also at peace in her current relationship. But Ben, on the other hand, would love for the outside world not to know about his love letters. Sure, he's a romantic, but you know, he's still a private kind of guy. He keeps his memories, whether it is from the movies he worked on or family, relationship moments. He always has what common folks call receipts. But then at the end of the day, nobody was surprised by J.Lo making things public because J.Lo wanted everybody to know about it. She was like, "Oh, this is our inspiration." Ben didn't know that she actually brought those into the studio until she told the world. According to several of J.Lo's former staff members, Jennifer earned herself the nickname Paylo because she paid her staff around 50% less than they could make elsewhere. And this rumor's been going on for years, so it's pretty much fact at this point. We're talking like 2003, which is like 20 plus years ago. J.Lo was spotted in Vegas with Ben Affleck when they were first dating. Right now we're in round 3, 2, depends on where you are on the timeline. The pair had a big win. Ben decided to drop $2,000 to the dealer, but before the dealer could actually take his well-earned reward, J.Lo snatched up the cash, swapped it for $200. Now, people are like, okay, does she have a reason for paying her staff so little? She's like, yeah, I had to work hard to make my money, so like everybody else should. And like, I'm sorry, that's just embarrassing. If you had to work hard to earn what you earned, you should want to try and make it easier for others because you know how hard it is. It's just a really entitled point of view, and it's gross. Now, if you didn't know, earlier this year, J.Lo released her documentary on Prime. It's This Is Me Now, a love story. Gave you behind-the-scenes look into her album, This Is Me Now. If I'm sounding redundant, just you wait. The movie was called The Greatest Love Story Never Told. Until it was told, and now it's over. Sorry, my little ad lib there. Some fans who watched it took to social media to call her out for her lies. Because in one scene, she poses in the mirror of her personal gym because she's shaking out her hair, she's reminiscing about growing up in the Bronx. She's like, yeah, I like taking my hair like this. It reminds me like when I was 16 in the Bronx, running up and down the block. Crazy little girl who used to be effing wild, no limits, all dreams. But then, come in TikTok user, photos by Angela, who's like, I went to the same Catholic high school as J.Lo, and J.Lo is lying. She said, and I quote, "We both attended an all-girls high school in an Irish and Italian neighborhood, so you weren't running up and down the block." Now, J.Lo's been long accused of some, fibbing and whatnot. One big fib, apparently she doesn't actually sing on her albums. Singer Natasha Ramos took to TikTok to shed light on that rumor. So Natasha has a voice pretty similar to J.Lo's, and was allegedly hired to sing the demo of Jenny from the Block. And the production team liked her voice so much that they asked her to record 5 more songs for an album, which, oh boy. Natasha received $3,500 in a backup singer's credit. But as she claims, and as the original demo demonstrates, yeah, it's her voice in the final track. And not only in the choruses, it's her laugh, it's her yelling from the Bronx. J.Lo, I think, only really sings in the verse. Speaking of stealing, J.Lo's notorious for stealing from other artists. Like, she caught her big break back in 1997 when she starred as the late Latin pop icon Selena in the biography of the same name. And after that film, J.Lo ventured into music. Her demo was picked up by music exec Tommy Mottola and Sony Music, and she dropped her debut album in summer of 1999. And one big hit from that album was If You Had My Love. You know it, you love it, we've all heard it. Well, that song got some backlash from R&B singer Shantae Moore because Moore had a near identical song called If I Gave Love that she recorded a year prior in 1998. Both these songs were written and produced by Rodney Jerkins. It's been said that J.Lo's then boyfriend, whose name I probably shouldn't say on here, pressured Jerkins to write a near identical song. And J.Lo's stealing habits only got worse as time went on. This wasn't like a one and done. So using background vocals is not uncommon in the music industry. But the issue with J.Lo is that she's passed those off as her own. Songs like Play and the I'm Real remix feature prominent reference track vocals from Christina Milian, Ashanti. J.Lo and Ja Rule's music video for I'm in Real remix, J.Lo used Ashanti's reference track vocals in the song and passed them off as her own. Yeah, instead of J.Lo re-recording the song, which is kind of what's normal in the industry, she left the demo vocals on the song and failed to credit anybody else. If I was to list everybody she's like stolen from over the years or attempted to steal from, we'd be here all day. But let's look at some notable names. Usher, Mariah Carey, Brandy Norwood. I could go on and on. Oh, and by the way, J.Lo's also been accused of lip-syncing a lot during live performances. In 2021, fans flooded social media during her American Music Awards performance because they were very disappointed that her vocals did not match the studio version of her song On My Way. And then 2014, she was performing on American Idol, and folks were like, no, you're lip-syncing I Love Ya Poppy. We all saw it, we all know it. Not the right move. So in 2002, J.Lo starred in the romantic comedy Made in Manhattan. And she went all over the world promoting this, and when she landed in London, people were talking. They weren't talking about the movie though, they were talking about her demands. Because, well, she was there and, hanging out, she had a very interesting encounter with hotel staff. She was staying at the Metropolitan Hotel, and this is where the early signs of J.Lo being a career diva began to show. The hotel staff was astounded by her extravagant demands, because apparently it was reaching levels they'd never seen before. She was like, I need thousands of pounds of lemon-scented candles. And also, if I'm even gonna go like a block around the corner, I need a limo. Literally, she had 7 limousines escort her to lunch at a place that was only 200 yards away. So maybe you think, well, Alexa, maybe she grew out of that. 2012 reports surfaced that Jenny from the Block demanded that staff working for her make no eye contact or even speak with her. While having work done on her San Fernando Valley home, she demanded that none of the helpers, drivers, or contractors have any interactions with her. And reportedly, when flying first class, she doesn't like anybody to bother her. Not even a flight attendant. And that's their job. They bother you for safety, if you need a snack. One time a flight attendant offered her a drink, and she was like, She said instead to her assistant, please tell him I'd like a Diet Coke and lime. Sure, this rumor hasn't really been confirmed, but come on, who does that? JLo had her former co-star Ryan Guzman fake his relationship status to hype up their movie almost 10 years ago. And we found this out from his ex-girlfriend who was with him at the time. So Melanie Iglesias called out JLo on the No Chaser podcast for how Jen acted during the 2015 The Boy Next Door press run. Because apparently JLo was holding hands with Ryan at after parties and acting like they were an item. But she knew fully well he had like an actual girlfriend. The model says she even met JLo at an award show while she was dating Ryan, claiming she gave her an awkwardly firm handshake and an intimidating once-over, something Melanie says she was disappointed over, seeing as like at the time she viewed JLo as a hero. And Melanie also pointed that when Ellen DeGeneres directly asked JLo on the show, "Doesn't he have a girlfriend?" JLo played dumb. She's like, "I don't know." Girl, you knew. JLo faced a lot of backlash after revealing she was unhappy about sharing the stage with fellow artist Shakira at the 2020 Super Bowl. The duo took the stage by storm at the iconic annual halftime show, with their history-making performance attracting a lot of praise from fans and celebrities worldwide. But turns out, despite the actual success of the performance, JLo wasn't really happy with the NFL's decision to have her and Shakira take the stage together. She admitted in her Netflix documentary that we know way too much about, that she thought it was the worst idea in the world. Shortly after those comments hit online, fans were like, okay, what's up with this entitled attitude? Arguing that regardless of time constraints, it was iconic. And it's like, girl, you went out, you did your thing.